Alright, yeah! Thank God for fantasy football. I'm Buster Brown, and the show is called Redemption Rehab. Today, we're taking a look at our Week 4 Waiver Wire. Last week, we gave you a hot pick. His name was Jerome Ford. He had 10 carries for 18 yards and a touchdown. He also caught 2 passes for 33 yards and another touchdown. Well, I'll tell you what, we've got somebody even better than that this week, and his name is Devon Achane. He rushed the ball 18 times for a whopping 203 yards with 2 touchdowns, but he also caught 4 balls for another 30 yards and 2 more touchdowns. I'll tell you what, if you get a chance and either one of these 2 are still on your waiver wire, you need to go out and get them as soon as you can, because they're going to make an impact for the rest of the year. Okay, on the screen behind me is a depth chart from an affiliate of ours called RT Sports. When you get a chance, check them out. This is their depth chart from the Baltimore Ravens. As you can see over here, we recommended Gus Edwards last week, and he got hurt. So, chance of him playing, he had a concussion this week, we're not sure about. We also recommended Justice Hill 2 weeks ago. He got hurt. He's got a foot injury. So what's that leave us? Melvin Gordon. What did he do last week? Well, I'll tell you what, he had 10 rushes for 32 yards and 2 receptions for another 23 yards. I'll tell you what, I mean, these guys, there's nobody else left to play. Kenyon Drake's coming in here. He might get some playing time, but with the injury situation in Baltimore, I do like Melvin Gordon. I think he can get you some points, but it's going to have to be a desperation move because they're playing Cleveland. Cleveland's got a really good defense, so I'm not expecting a lot of points here. So if you have to get one of these 2 guys, you can pick them up on your waiver wire. I'll only play him if it's a must-need. I've got some other sleepers I want to show you. Okay, those are some good running backs. Going to be hot pickups on the waiver wire. Some sleeper picks that we really like. How about Rashawn Johnson over there in Chicago? Chicago can't seem to find his way. This rookie running back's going to get some playing time eventually. He's the handcuff to Khalil Herbert. They're playing a Denver team that likes to give up a lot of points. Look what Devon Achane did. Scored, 50 points in fantasy football. So I think there might be a play for Rashawn Johnson. He's a rookie we talked about in our NFL draft preview show, which you could watch on YouTube or Facebook. Check when you get a chance, check it out. And I'll tell you what, someone else we had on our NFL draft preview show was Tyjae Spears. This guy's playing for Tennessee. He's the handcuffed over there to Derrick Henry. Don't be surprised if this guy gets some playing time if Derrick Henry comes up with the injury bug that seems to happen every year. Also, some other guys you might want to consider at wide receiver. We told you about him last week, Tank Dell. Last week he had 7 catches for 72 yards and a touchdown. He plays for Houston. This week he topped that. He had 5 catches for 145 yards and a touchdown. But that's not the only guy people are going to be going after in the waiver wire. How about Joshua Palmer? Mike Williams got hurt for the Los Angeles Chargers. So Joshua Palmer came in and got 4 catches for 66 yards and a touchdown on 7 targets. Another guy you want to keep your eye on is the rookie. We did a show on our NFL draft preview show back in April. He's a rookie. His name's Quentin Johnston. And I'll tell you what, he had 2 catches for 10 yards on 3 targets, but he's going to see an increase in playing time. But those aren't the only guys we want to talk about. How about another rookie, Josh Downs from the Indianapolis Colts? He had 8 catches for 57 yards on 12 targets. When we did these shows, these NFL draft preview shows, which we do every year, we put them out in April. We highlighted these 2 rookies, Quentin Johnston and Josh Downs. I'll tell you what, we like them both. You should go out and put them on your bench, maybe even consider starting them this week. Let's take a look at some other guys you should know about. How about Marvin Mims? We've talked about him the last couple weeks. He went out and had 3 catches for 73 yards on 5 targets, and he rushed the ball 1 time for 3 yards. And then there's Romeo Doubs. We talked about him the last couple weeks for Green Bay with Christian Watson out. He's had 5 catches for 73 yards on 12 targets. Who else do I like in Green Bay? Man, if Jaden Reed's out there, he had 3 catches for 63 yards on 7 targets on top of what he had last week, which was 4 catches for 37 yards and 2 touchdowns. These guys are pretty good players, and if they're on your waiver wire, you should go out and scoop them up because bye weeks start in week 5. So teams are going to go on bye, and you need as many good players as you can to put in your lineup. If you want some sleeper picks, hey, how about Jacksonville? They're heading overseas to play Atlanta. Zay Jones was hurt, and a lot of people cut him. He's a good player. You should consider picking him up. And I'll tell you what, when the Carolina Panthers lost their quarterback, Bryce Young, Andy Dalton come in, and man, he tore it up. So I'd be going out there and looking at those Carolina Panther wide receivers. Like if Adam Thielen's out there, I'd go out and get him. He's a pretty good player. And don't forget about DJ Chark. You know, this guy's been around for a while. He went out and tore it up also. And they play the Minnesota Vikings. So you know they can throw the ball and get a lot of points against the Vikings. Speaking of quarterbacks, we said Andy Dalton. Why not go out and get yourself some Andy Dalton if you need a quarterback? Like I said, he's playing against the Minnesota Vikings. Justin Herbert, threw for league-leading, 100 yards and a ton of touchdowns. So I think Andy Dalton is a good play this week if you need to stream a quarterback because of injuries. And I'll tell you what, when we come back, we're going to look at some must-get tight ends we've been talking about for weeks. You know, we've been talking about tight ends that you could get up, and one of the things we've been mentioning all year was the rookies coming into the league. Not many times do tight ends that are rookies come into the league and light it up. But we did our NFL draft preview show. We focused on some rookie tight ends that would impact fantasy football, and we talked about Luke Musgrave. Luke Musgrave, rookie out there in Green Bay, had 6 catches from 49 yards on 8 targets. We also talked about Sam Laporta. In April, before the draft, we said, hey, man, this kid out of Iowa is a player, and you should check him out. Here he is tearing it up. In the last 2 weeks, he's had 10 receptions for 99 yards on 11 targets and 1 touchdown. These guys are guys I'd go out and pick up. I'd put in my lineup, or at least keep them on your bench for bye weeks. Who else do I like at tight end? How about Gerald Everett? He plays for the Los Angeles Chargers. Mike Williams is out. I see an increase for Gerald Everett, and his handcuff is basically Donald Parham. He's caught 3 touchdowns on the Chargers in the last 3 weeks. When they get the ball inside the 2-3 yard line, they throw the ball to this guy because he's tall. So Donald Parham over at the Los Angeles Chargers and Gerald Everett. Keep an eye on those guys. I told you last week that I also like the Seattle tight ends. There's a slew of them. Last week, Noah Fant had 4 catches for 41 yards on 5 targets. When he wasn't playing, Colby Parkinson came in. He had 3 catches for 38 yards on 4 targets, and they've got Will Dissly sitting on the bench. These guys get like 8 to 10 targets a game. Which one will produce on a week-in, week-out basis, I'm not sure, but keep an eye on them in case you're in need of a tight end for a week. And I'll tell you what, don't forget about Jake Ferguson. We've mentioned him the last 2 weeks. Last week, he went out and caught 5 passes for 48 yards on 7 targets. These are guys you can get on your waiver wire, and you should go out and get them, especially if you have a hole in your lineup at tight end or a bye week coming up. I'll tell you what, do you need a kicker? Why not Matt Gay over in Indianapolis? What did he do? How about kick 5 field goals, 5 of 5, the game-winning field goal in overtime, and 4 of those 5 were over 50 yards. He'd got you 20 points in fantasy football. Go out and get yourself some Matt Gay. If you need some defenses, how about you go out and get yourself some KC versus the Jets? Zach Wilson's not exactly lighting it up. He's actually terrible. So the defense for the Kansas City's been playing well, and I would put them in my lineup if they're on your waiver wire. And how about Tampa Bay Buccaneers going up against Jameis Winston? Looks like the quarterback Derek Carr might not be playing for New Orleans with a sprained shoulder. I'll tell you what, those sprained ACL joints don't exactly heal quick. So Jameis Winston, who likes to throw interceptions, is going to be going up against his old team, Tampa Bay. So I can see him turning the ball over. And I can also see Cincinnati's defense playing well against Tennessee. Look, they played damn good against the Los Angeles Rams the other night on Monday Night Football. They had a ton of points. If you have them on your team, put them in your lineup against Tennessee. Tennessee's really struggling. Well, that's it for Week 4 of the NFL Weekly Waiver Wire Report. I'm Buster Brown. The show is called Redemption Rehab. Good luck.